This is Haiti, caught in the middle of an escalating gang war. It's a country on the brink of collapse. Murder, kidnappings and sexual violence are an everyday reality. The gangs have become too powerful and the police are no match.
What's really incredible actually is the sense of being in a war zone actually.
Over the years I've seen firsthand Haiti's downward spiral into violence and chaos.
This is very much an ongoing disaster.
So how has Haiti reached this point, and what might happen next? Haiti is a small country in the Caribbean. Its capital, Port-au-Prince, is mostly controlled by dangerous armed gangs.
It's quite remarkable actually. You've got so many factions, so many gangs fighting each other, and their territories are very specific.
The city is caught in the middle of a deadly turf war between these groups.
So if you were to just go through here now, would they shoot?
Yeah.
January was the most violent month in the country in more than 2 years.
At least 806 people were killed, injured or kidnapped in January.
In 2023, nearly 5,000 people were killed, a 110% increase on the year before.
Gangs also continued to use sexual violence against women and girls as a weapon.
Things have deteriorated as this year has gone on. These people fled their homes during heavy shootouts between rival gangs fighting for control of territory and businesses. And in that same month, gangs attacked police stations, the main airport, and raided the country's 2 biggest prisons, releasing thousands of inmates.
La prisión, el motín, sí, corrían peligro en nuestras vidas.
In March, Haiti entered a state of emergency. Signs of street battles can be seen everywhere. This elderly woman was hit by a stray bullet. Now, a gang boss and former police officer known as Barbecue has called for criminal groups to unite and overthrow the Prime Minister Ariel Henry.
Jusqu'à dernier goût de sang nous. Sam ka di, n'a goumé contre Ariel Henry jusqu'à.
These gangs are incredibly powerful. They control major roads, ports and food supplies and take money from businesses. But fear is their number one weapon. But Haiti's troubles go back much further than this. How Haiti got to this point can be traced through its history of political instability, social unrest, natural disasters and foreign interventions. After being ruled as a Spanish and then a French colony, Haiti got a glimpse of independence in the 1800s. The Haitian Revolution was the first successful large-scale revolt by enslaved people in modern history. But it came at a price. The country was forced to take out high interest loans to pay a debt to France. In 1915, the United States invaded, wanting to protect their own commercial interests in the country. Its 20-year occupation was sometimes a bloody one. More unstable governments followed until the 1950s, when Francois Duvalier, also known as Papa Doc, seized power and ruled as a dictator. Following his death, his son Baby Doc took over. Under their rule, thousands of people were murdered or tortured in jails, and corruption left the country struggling economically. In 1987, a revolt forced Baby Doc to flee. But what followed was more chaos, with multiple leaders replaced in military coups. President Jean-Bertrand Aristide fled into exile after several attempts at overthrowing him led to conflict across the country. The United Nations sent a peacekeeping force to restore order. By this time, Haiti was grappling with gang violence and spiralling crime, as well as political instability. But this UN mission was controversial, being linked to a cholera outbreak and allegations of human rights abuses. In 2010, more misery was added to the already desperate situation when a devastating earthquake hit. I arrived in the aftermath and reported from the hospital.
People are still being brought into the hospitals, and the hospitals are overwhelmed. They were days ago. They simply can't cope.
In just a few seconds, the capital was flattened and more than 200,000 people were killed.
They're hoping to find more people alive, but as each day, each hour goes by, the chances get slimmer and slimmer.
It left Haiti with alarming levels of poverty and corruption, decimated infrastructure, and organised crime spiralling out of control.
And also, there's a bullets being fired. They're trying to clear the streets.
But things got even worse in 2021 when President Jovenel Moise was assassinated. Since then, gang violence has surged, with criminal groups stepping in to fill the gap left by political failure and a lack of economic development. The smuggling of weapons and drugs into the country also fuels the criminal groups. With no elected civilian government, chaos on the streets, and a group of gangs who control vast swathes of the country, to all intents and purposes, Haiti is now controlled by a federation of gang bosses, which is arguably a world first. At the helm is Barbecue, a man who, when I met him first, I knew straight away was a force to be reckoned with.
Hey! Yo, on en a pas avec.
This most recent wave of gang violence spiked when the country's Prime Minister, Ariel Henry, visited Kenya. He's been finalising plans for a peacekeeping force to come from Africa to Haiti with the financial backing of the United States.
Given this increasingly urgent need, the United States Department of Defense is doubling its approved support for the mission.
That mission is set to include 1,000 Kenyan police officers. It has now been delayed until a new government is in place in Haiti.
We are making this response because it is what is right. It is what humankind can do to fellow humankind.
And that may be true, but the African nation also wants to prove itself as a dependable ally on the world stage. That may be tricky, though. When I met Barbecue last year, he warned that sending foreign troops would only lead to more violence.
Mais si on essaie de résoudre avec ZAM, et je pense effectivement un peu de monde dans le quartier populaire au cas mourir. Un peu de monde. Et il y a tué plus de monde dans le quartier populaire, il y a tué plus innocents que coupables.
So any international force could be faced with a coalition of armed gangs, gangs well trained in urban warfare. Elsewhere, the United States is trying to come up with a plan for the country's political transition. Hours after Antony Blinken met with Caribbean leaders, Haiti's Prime Minister announced he will resign. But only once a presidential council is created. While the timeline for this is unclear, what is clear is that the people of Haiti want a change. The longer this crisis goes on, the more people are being caught in the crossfire. With Haiti's struggles so deep-rooted within society, it's hard to imagine where it goes from here.